It will just chew, and then, it will do its thing, and you have to clean after her. As a matter of fact, you have to wait until she passes through, and you have to clean it up. That takes time. So you see, that dictates the whole pattern of life becomes like this. Previously, no even mechanical transportation. You get 2 oxen and you go, and now, 5 minutes, we have to go to the village. The oxen will look at you, what is 5 minutes? I don't care. Oxen doesn't have a watch. He will just go. And then, even with a horse, you cannot go really faster. The horse has also its given speed. So everything, the whole speed of life was derived from this pattern. Then somebody got the brilliant idea, this is too slow. We have to do more. We have to make progress. Progress means faster, more, and now. So the technology came. And suddenly you find yourself in a speed which actually accelerated the whole thing immensely. With the idea that we will do more. More for what? Eating, sleeping, some arrangement for sex life, and protection means defense. Well, that they had that too, maybe in a slow motion and simple, but these needs were already fulfilled. So what do you want more? No. We want more, and faster, and now. And then a bunch of people who simply saw the money piling up, developed a system how to extract a certain amount of money from others faster. And then they arranged the whole thing. And people, being in this world by nature, sorry to say it, extremely stupid, bought this whole trick. And now they are lined up every morning in these vehicles, going faster, faster! For what? For the same thing the man got by going with the oxen out there. For the same thing. You think the farmer had worse sex life as people have today? I don't want to go in detail, I doubt it. You never saw frustrating farming ladies sitting around and going, As a matter of fact, these women were so strong that what you have today walking the streets is just the members of a psychiatric hospital. I still was close to farming communities. Materially spoken, it's nothing to do with spiritual life. It's known that the farming ladies, I know that people working on a farm were more afraid of the farming lady as of the farmer. She was the real boss. She was cooking, managing, she knew everything, she could handle the horses, the cows, and the people working too. At least I know I was not so long time ago, living on the countryside. People still remember, yes, I used to work on this big farm. Oh, the farming lady was so heavy. She was feeding us well, but she was treating like a bunch of horses. People remember still working in such locations. So much for the woman liberation. The fear of the farming lady is still dominant. In India and these countries, not so different. You come in a household, watch out for the main lady. That's the queen. But she says, that happens. Not the man, really. He is supposedly be the... but for the daily workings in a household, watch out for the, oldest lady. She is in charge. And what's going to happen, that's what she will say. So, this is all patterns, material patterns, of course. It still doesn't tell us who we are. But you understand how tricked we got to think that we are making progress. Towards what? Towards lunacy. There was no psychiatric hospital for farmers. That doesn't mean there were not occasionally crazy farmers. But, this was a kind of genetical problem, or they just start to drink too much. But generally, there was no need. Because they were regulated in their ways, and they lived a speed of life which was sustainable. Now people live a life which is not sustainable, mentally and physically. Completely artificial life. Either sitting 20 hours a day behind some screen and rotting away, or even worse, their minds are so overloaded with unnecessary informations and images that they go completely insane from that. I mean, I don't have to know who is the main ice hockey team in the American League. It doesn't tell me anything. What has this to do with my life? But they will tell me, what? You don't know it? You have no knowledge. Your IQ is 0.1. Like the IQ problem. How do they judge the IQ problem? What is the measurement? How can you judge IQ in a lunatic hospital? No, he's a brilliant crazy. He's really clever. You know, he can tell you, count, 5 billion minus 15 backwards, but he doesn't know how to put it on his shoes. So that kind of knowledge is another form of lunacy. So what Prabhupada called universities and these institutions slaughterhouses of intelligence. They just overload you with knowledge you don't need. It's nothing to do with the world even, and even with you. So the question still remains, who is crazy? This attachment we just described in the Bhagavad Gita to sense object, can be easily projected also to attachment to concepts, ideas. You don't need something three-dimensional, physical to get attached to. You just have an idea. That's me. And you get attached to it. It must be me. It must be me. I remember one member of this movement, a young boy joining way back, must be 30 years ago. He came with a guitar. Everybody had a guitar. And he claimed to be a very good musician. And he said, okay, I will practice Krishna consciousness. I will play music for Krishna. Why not? The only problem is, the man had zero idea about music. And since this movement is packed with professional musicians, quite expert, they immediately discovered, what is he talking about? He cannot even read the notes. But he had his guitar. And he was always trying to. Everybody was laughing. Constitutional looking at him, he looked like a plumber. Somebody who can fix your toilet. Why not? You don't discriminate. But he absolutely disagreed. I am the guitar player. And he made trouble for himself wherever he went. Ultimately, he got so frustrated. So I used a little private moment. We had to ask him, who gave you the idea that you are a guitar player? And then he said, everybody around me, when I grow up, told me you must be a guitar player. And he learned to accept this lunacy idea that he must be like that. Now this is just a simple example, but we are all somewhat influenced by some idea. Oh, that's me, yeah, that's me. I remember when I was a small boy, every day I had an idea. I remember even the ideas. One day I saw down a heavy man. My father gave me a toy gun. And I walked around the apartment. I'm the heavy man. The next morning I woke up and I was going, I am tired of heavy men. I must be something very subtle and romantic and, something like a butterfly, It wasn't me either. And so I changed from one day to another, desperately looking, who is me actually? That's a good question. Until I met Srila Prabhupada, I couldn't find out. The first thing Srila Prabhupada information I got from him that I'm an idiot. That he didn't say it like that, but I translated it into my understanding. The message was pretty clear. You don't know who you are, you don't know where you come from, you don't know where to, you are completely lost, you are a fool. There was this Greek philosopher, who was this, Aristotle, who said, I know that I don't.
Socrates.
Huh?
Socrates.
Socrates?
Yeah. I know that I don't know.
I know that I don't know. Prabhupada was the only one from the whole Greek club who had some brain. Yeah. Because he came to understand that he doesn't know. This is where we start in Krishna consciousness. You could become actually a bhakta. Before that, very difficult. When we push our concepts into Krishna consciousness, including the way how we want to serve Krishna, that may become trouble. Therefore, that Krishna strongly recommends, not only recommends, but he makes it as a condition. In order to make spiritual progress, you must accept a spiritual master. And that, ideally spoken, should be somebody who tells you, maybe you are not what you think you are. Now preferably he will do it in a very clever way. He will engage you in such a way that you by your own understand, well actually, I am not this. I am more happy when I work like this. And then gradually you discover. But the basic information is already there from the beginning, that you are not what you think you are. And that's difficult for people to renounce. That's very difficult. They think, no, but when I learn to accept it, I'm not what I think I am, then I will be nobody. Then who is me? I will vanish. I will disappear. I will become like a, sect victim. One of these people in the 60s and 70s was invented the term brainwashing. Prabhupada was laughing. He said, why do they say brainwashing? There is nothing to wash. They assume that there is a brain to wash. There is nothing to wash. Simply cow dung. That was a quote. No, there is nothing to wash. Prabhupada said, first we give brain, then we wash. But negatively spoken, it was meant like you lose control, you forget who you are. And then of course devotees growing up very quickly learned to immediately respond. Oh, my dear sir, you tell me I'm brainwashed. Well, I don't know anymore who I am, okay? I got victimized by the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay? Well, tell me who you are. I'm a policeman. Well, that can be changed. I'm American. Well, that can be changed too. I'm a father. Well, for a while. I am white. Ho ho. That can be also changed. And nowadays you can even say, I'm a man. That can be changed too. So who are you anyway? And people get very angry and very upset when you start to ask these questions because they realize they really don't know who they are. They are crazy. So saying somebody in Krishna consciousness, actually, my dear sir, you are crazy, is not an insult. It's a scientific observation. And we can prove it. We can demonstrate and prove it. And simultaneously, immediately gave the alternative, which we find. Krishna is saying, this is like a positive alternative. He gives many. Whole Bhagavad Gita is just to make people sane. Come from the state of insanity to the point of sanity. That's what this conversation is about. But just to give an example, there are many descriptions of sanity, more as insanity in Krishna consciousness. In the Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna says, look, it's quite simple. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer my obeisances to me, just like that. And worship me means appreciate. You hear about me, you speak about me, you offer your food to me. And being completely absorbed in me, well, finally you will come to me. And coming to me means, actually, that this is a place for the sane people, And where you come from, this is a place for the insane people. So coming to me means you will be with the others. Because then you will know who you are. Jiva Swarupaya Nitya Krishna Das. You are eternal servant of Krishna. And that's where you are, that's what you will do, and that's really you. People think, servant? That's not really me. I'm just serving him. Who is serving me? No. By being that servant, you will find it's a very dynamic service. It's one Mataji in Germany a long time ago. She became quite Krishna conscious. And those days it was a big issue with this women being suppressed, in India and this. And she was a famous German actress. And when finally, the reporters asked her, oh, it's you, the famous actress, but you are now chanting Hare Krishna. You are serving Krishna. Don't you feel depressed that you just became a servant? Her answer was very quick. She looked at the reporter and said, do I look like that? And they were like, okay, of course. Because she was he was very dynamic. So how come that those who serve Krishna can be of such a distinctively strong nature? And I tell you, the strength of individuals in this movement is so great that sometimes we have a hard time to define it as a movement even. Because the individuality and the strength of the individuals and the initiative is so strong that to put it together is sometimes, it's like you get a bunch of very, very strong individuals together. It can be very productive or not. But, that's the result of this. You don't become weak, helpless, confused, and miserable by being Krishna's servant. Obviously not. But you become weak, miserable, and confused when you are in the service of the material enemy, which will manipulate you, mutilate you, humble you in any step of your life, finally bringing you to the point of death. That's called real humiliation. I just want to say something. No, now you say nothing, you die. Lecture is closed. Yeah, but I cannot die now, I have to say something. It doesn't matter. Die. The cemeteries are full of remnants of those who wanted to still say something. But they couldn't, because they're dead now. So this is the answer of material energy to our obstinate call not to serve Krishna. So we can spare ourselves this humiliation. We can live in a dignified way in Krishna consciousness. We will also die, certainly. But even that can be done in a dignified way. In accordance to our constitutional position to be eternal servant of Krishna. And this is the ultimate definition of sanity. So, I think I have to end now. With some moment? Yeah? Okay. So there will be some kirtan. If somebody wants to discuss more on this issue, there is 6 o'clock in a place called Office. It's a small thing in front of the kitchen, a small room. One can speak more about this. You are most welcome. That's 6 o'clock. Otherwise, after this, just to be already brief, you want to make an announcement? Or should I